Hey man, you've probably noticed this strange paradox. Sometimes the more a woman feels for you, the more she pulls away, the more she ignores you, and the more confusing her behavior becomes. It doesn't make logical sense, right? If she's in love, why wouldn't she shower you with attention, affection, and consistency? But that's the trap of thinking about women with a man's logic. Men love in straight lines, women love in circles. When a man is in love, he wants to be close, to claim, to protect, to provide. But when a woman is deeply in love, she often feels fear, vulnerability, and chaos inside of her, and ignoring you becomes her way of regaining control. She isn't ignoring you because she doesn't feel anything. She's ignoring you because she feels too much. This is what most men miss. Women experience love as danger. To love you deeply means she risks losing you. To love you means she gives you power over her emotions, her body, her mind, and when that realization hits her, she panics, so she distances herself, not because she doesn't want you, but because she needs to test if she can survive without you. Her silence is not rejection, it's a shield. By ignoring you, she convinces herself she has control, that she's not entirely at your mercy. What looks like coldness is often self-defense, and the more powerful the love she feels, the stronger that defense mechanism becomes. Think about it this way. Women crave emotional intensity, but when the intensity reaches a certain peak, it overwhelms them. Ignoring you becomes a way to lower the temperature, to slow things down, to give herself time to process what she feels. She'll ignore your texts, delay her replies, act distant in person. Yet, when you're not looking, she's replaying every word you said, every glance you gave, every touch you shared. She's trying to detach, but in that detachment, she's actually obsessing even more. Her ignoring you doesn't erase her feelings, it multiplies them. This is why the strongest mistake men make is chasing harder when she ignores. They think her silence is a problem to solve, when in reality, it's proof of how deeply she feels. The more you chase, the more you reinforce her fear. You become the storm she's trying to escape. But when you remain calm, nonchalant, unbothered, she realizes something powerful. You are steady, even when she is chaotic. That steadiness is what draws her back. She ignores you to test if her emotions control you. And when they don't, when you stand tall, she feels both safe and even more in love. So why do women ignore you when they're deeply in love? Because love for them is fire, and ignoring you is their attempt to keep from burning alive. It's not rejection, it's regulation. It's not disinterest, it's overwhelm. And the man who understands this doesn't panic, doesn't chase, doesn't beg for her attention. He leans back, he lets her breathe, and he knows her silence is temporary. Because the truth is, the more she ignores, the deeper she's already fallen. Her love is not shown in her words or her replies. It's hidden in the very act of pulling away, because it means she has something to lose. And nothing terrifies a woman more than losing the man she truly loves. The irony is that when she ignores you, she's not really ignoring you, she's ignoring herself. She's battling the intensity of her own feelings. Think about it. Women are taught to be cautious with love, to never give too much, to always keep the upper hand. So when her heart starts racing every time you walk into a room, when her mind keeps wandering back to you at night, when her body aches for your presence, she feels like she's losing control. That loss of control terrifies her, and ignoring you is her way of pretending she's still in charge. In her silence, she's whispering to herself, "I don't need him, I can survive without him." Yet every time she repeats it, she knows it's a lie. This is why women are often coldest when they feel the warmest inside. A man who doesn't understand this will get frustrated, think she's playing games, or assume she's losing interest. But the truth is far darker and far deeper. Her silence is her love language in disguise. It's how she tries to measure the depth of her own feelings. By ignoring you, she watches what you do. Will you panic and chase, or will you stay calm, confident, and composed? That difference tells her everything. If you stay centered, she learns she can trust you with her heart. If you lose yourself, she realizes you're just another man enslaved by her emotions. Here's the trap, man. If you mistake her ignoring for rejection and start begging, pleading, or bombarding her with attention, you kill the attraction instantly. Women can't respect a man who collapses under silence, because silence is her test. Ignoring you is her way of shaking the tree to see if you'll fall. She wants to know if your love is rooted in strength or weakness, and most men fail this test. They chase, they complain, they ask, "Why are you ignoring me?" Not realizing that question alone exposes them as needy. The man who wins is the one who notices the silence, but doesn't flinch. He doesn't try to fill the void. He lets the silence speak for itself, knowing she will break it when she can't take it anymore. When you truly grasp this, you see her ignoring you, not as a punishment, but as proof. Proof that you've reached her heart. Proof that her emotions are too intense for her to manage. Proof that she's deeply invested, even if she won't admit it. And once you see it that way, the power dynamic shifts completely. Instead of feeling anxious or restless, you become calm. You understand that her ignoring you is temporary, because the love inside her is permanent. The stronger the silence, the louder the obsession behind it. You don't need to break it, you just need to outlast it. Here's the ultimate truth. When a woman truly doesn't care about you, she doesn't need to ignore you. Indifference doesn't require silence, it requires nothing at all. She simply moves on. No drama, no tests, no pulling away. But when she is in love, she'll ignore you precisely because she can't move on. Ignoring you is her attempt to manage emotions that are too big to contain. So the next time you feel that sting of her silence, don't fall into panic, smile instead. Because that silence isn't emptiness, it's filled with her love, her fear, her longing, and her struggle to stay in control. And when she finally breaks it, when she comes back to you, she'll come back with twice the intensity she left with. The thing most men fail to see is that her ignoring you is actually her vulnerability in disguise. Women don't ignore men they don't care about. They ignore the ones they care too much about. And here's why. The more she feels, the more she fears. She fears getting hurt. She fears losing control. She fears that if she shows the full depth of her affection, you'll take it for granted. So she pulls back, not because she wants to, but because she feels she has to. Think of it like a defensive shield. Her silence is her armor. She believes that if she steps back, she won't appear desperate, she won't appear weak, and she won't give you the power to hurt her. But ironically, that very silence is what reveals her deepest weakness, her love for you. When you understand female psychology at this level, you stop panicking when she ignores you. Instead, you lean into the calm, because you realize her silence is not rejection, it's resistance. And resistance is only born from pressure. She feels the weight of her emotions pressing against her heart, and she resists them the only way she knows how, by pretending they don't exist. That's why she acts cold in person, why she delays her replies, why she sometimes vanishes for days. Yet if you look closely, you'll see she's still orbiting you, still watching, still checking, still caring. Her actions scream detachment, but her behavior whispers obsession. She's stuck in a war with herself, and the battlefield is silence. The worst mistake a man can make in these moments is to break down and start chasing. Understand this, when she ignores you, she's watching your reaction more than anything else. If you crumble, if you start demanding answers, if you fill her phone with messages, she realizes you're no different from the rest. She wanted a man she could lose herself in, but instead she finds a man who loses himself in her. That's when attraction dies. But if you stay solid, if you remain unshaken, if you give her the space to process her storm while you stand tall in your own calm, that's when she starts to miss you. That's when her own silence suffocates her. That's when she realizes she can't stay away. Here's the paradox. Her ignoring you is the clearest proof she's invested. Think about it. If she truly didn't care, there would be no need for silence. She would simply detach and move on with her life. But silence requires energy. To ignore someone you love takes more effort than to engage with them. Every ignored call, every delayed reply, every moment of pretending not to care is a battle she's fighting inside. She's not ignoring you because she's free of you. She's ignoring you because she's trapped by you, trapped in her own emotions, trapped in her longing, trapped in the fact that you've gotten under her skin in a way no other man has. And this is where the power flips, man. When you realize her silence is just another form of communication, you stop reacting to it. You stop fearing it. Instead, you use it. You let her ignore you, because you know that every day she stays silent, her feelings grow louder inside her. You know that every moment she pretends you don't matter, you matter more. You know that ignoring you is not her cutting the cord, it's her tightening it. And when you sit back with patience, with confidence, with a calm smile, you force her to confront the truth she's been trying to hide. She's already in too deep. Her ignoring you is not the end, it's the beginning of her surrender. Silence is not emptiness, it's strategy. Women, whether consciously or unconsciously, are masters of emotional strategy. When she ignores you, she's not just disappearing, she's testing the strength of your frame. She wants to know if you'll collapse under the weight of uncertainty. She wants to know if you'll hand over your power just to gain her presence again. And what she doesn't realize is that the very test she sets for you is also the very thing that determines whether she'll stay addicted to you. Fail it by chasing, and she labels you as weak. Pass it by standing tall, and she feels that primal pull toward you intensify. Her ignoring you is her gamble, and your response decides whether she wins or loses. This is why patience is your sharpest weapon. Most men cannot tolerate the space. They can't stand the gap between them and her. They crave her voice, her attention, her validation so much that silence feels like death. But a man who understands the game sees it differently. He sees silence as her attempt to pull him out of his center, and he uses it to prove he can't be moved. He waits, he breathes, he focuses on his purpose, and he lets time do the work. Because here's the truth, a woman can ignore your messages, but she can't ignore her own emotions. She can put her phone down, but she can't put her heart down. Eventually, the silence becomes unbearable for her, not for you. And this is where her fear kicks in. The longer she stays away, the more she starts to wonder, why hasn't he chased me? Why hasn't he folded? Why hasn't he tried to break the silence? This fear is the crack in her strategy, because now she's not just ignoring you, she's battling her own anxiety. The very test she set for you starts to backfire on her. She begins to imagine scenarios in her head. Maybe you're losing interest. Maybe you found someone else. Maybe you're not as emotionally invested as she thought. That fear becomes the fuel that pulls her back to you, and suddenly, her silence flips into her craving. Here's the irony. The same woman who ignores you will later accuse you of ignoring her. And she's right, because at some point, the balance shifts. She may have started the silence, but you finished it. You didn't break. You didn't fold. And that forces her to break the wall she built. She texts you. She calls you. She shows up in your orbit again. Not because you begged, but because you didn't. This is the cruel but beautiful dance of attraction. The more you chase, the less she wants. The less you chase, the more she burns. And when she finally comes back, she won't admit it out loud. But deep down, she knows your calm silence defeated her strategic silence. So the lesson, man, is simple but profound. Never fear being ignored. Never fear her silence, because silence is not the end of attraction, it's the middle of it. It's the hidden stage where emotions ferment, where desire grows stronger in the dark. Your role is not to chase light into that darkness, but to let it build until she can't contain it anymore. That's when she comes back with more intensity, more hunger, more need than before. And if you understand this, if you embrace the silence as part of the process, you'll realize that her ignoring you is not rejection, it's proof of her investment. It's her heart trying to protect itself, while also betraying itself. All you have to do is stay still, stay strong, and watch her silence turn into pursuit. When a woman ignores you, she's not cutting you off. She's trying to control the pace of the story. Women love to build suspense. They love to keep the energy of the relationship wrapped in uncertainty, because uncertainty makes emotion stronger. Think about it. When everything is predictable, when every call is answered, every text is immediate, the flame dies out. There's no mystery, no tension, no heartbeat in the silence. But when she ignores you, she's trying to stretch that string, to tighten the rope of attraction so that it vibrates with more energy. The key though is this: if you panic and chase, you snap that string. If you hold your ground and let the tension build, you make her fall deeper into her own emotions. She creates the silence, but you control how powerful it becomes. This is why the strongest men don't chase women, they attract them. They understand that attention is currency, and silence is interest. A man who pours all of his attention onto a woman when she ignores him is a man spending his wealth on someone who's testing him. But a man who holds his energy back, who lets her wonder where his mind is a man collecting interest on her emotions. Day by day, she thinks about him more. Night by night, she imagines him with someone else. Every unanswered message she sends in her head, because trust me, she writes them even if she doesn't send them, becomes proof of her obsession growing. You don't need to chase her when she ignores you, because her own mind will do the chasing for you. And here's the deeper truth. A woman ignores you most when she feels most vulnerable. Silence, in many ways, is her shield. She doesn't want you to see how deeply she feels. She doesn't want to hand you her heart completely, so she hides it behind absence. But silence doesn't erase emotion, it only intensifies it. When she ignores you, she's holding back the very words she wishes she could say. She wants to text you, she wants to hear your voice, she wants to feel your presence, but she resists. And that resistance is where her love grows sharpest. You don't need to break that resistance by forcing her attention. You just need to wait long enough for the shield to get too heavy for her to hold. That's when she drops it and runs back to you. This is why women often come back stronger after periods of silence. You may think she's gone. You may think her feelings faded, but behind the scenes, they were boiling. She tried to detach. She tried to convince herself she didn't care. She tried to starve her own desire. But just like hunger always comes back stronger after fasting, her emotions come rushing back when the silence breaks. That's when you see her call you unexpectedly, or she shows up in places you are, or she suddenly acts affectionate again. It feels random to you, but it's not random at all. It's the result of her losing the war with her own emotions. She ignored you, not because she didn't love you, but because she loved you so deeply, she didn't know how to handle it. So remember this, man. When a woman ignores you, don't take it as rejection, take it as proof of the depth of her feelings. Only men who don't understand women panic when the silence comes. Strong men lean into it. They use the silence as their power, their proof, their leverage. And when she comes back, and she will, you'll see it clearly. Her ignoring you was never the absence of love. It was the disguise of it. Women don't ignore men they don't care about. They dismiss them without thought. But when she's deeply in love, ignoring you is her way of protecting her vulnerability, of guarding her emotions, of testing your strength. And if you stay calm, if you stay centered, if you never fold under that silence, you'll not only win her back, you'll own her heart forever.